there. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Tammy Tine Design YouTube channel. I'm Tammy, and today I'm creating the second layout in my Our Story Matters series. I put together 4 page kits with papers from the collection, and all of my layouts in the month of August are devoted to creating these layouts. Here are the papers I'm using today. This grid paper will be my background. I have this floral with the pink stripes and the dark blue paper with the plus signs. On the back is the 3x4 cut aparts, the blue gingham, and the plaid. I will use all 3 patterns on my layout as well as a small strip of one of the B sides. I'll be cutting the blue paper to an 11 by a quarter inch square, so that will leave me with strips of the plaid print. Here are the photos I'll be scrapbooking today. This is my husband with our niece. These were right before our wedding. He hadn't seen her since she was like a month old because of COVID. So these are special photos. I'm going to create a pocket on my layout to have the journaling. There will be a lot going on with the design, and I had a lot to say, so the journaling will be behind a pocket. I pulled a variety of die cuts that I'm hoping to include on the layout, along with a bunch of stickers I added to some sticker release paper. I walk through all of that in my polling embellishments video. If you missed any of the videos in this series, I will have the playlist linked in the description box. This is video number 4. Here are a few stickers that I have left over from my first layout from last week. I'm pretty happy that I've been able to work in so many of the stickers I added to these release papers. We'll see if I'm able to add any of these on today's layout. The easiest one might be the word phrase that says capture the moment. That will work on this layout for sure. I'm also going to be using chipped sapphire distress ink to all of the edges of both my pattern papers and the photo mats I'll be adding. I'd like to get some of these puffy flowers onto this layout as well. This is one of the extras I pulled from my stash. It's not from the collection. And I need to remind myself that I have the brads as well. Sometimes I forget about them. And that's everything. I'm going to go ahead and cut all of my papers, and then I'll show you my design ideas for this page. Here's the background with most of the pattern papers and the photo mats. I will be adding small strips of one more pattern, which will be layered up under the floral stripe paper. My photos will be pushed up against each other like so. I wanted the white frames around both of the photos because I'm going to repeat the cute Polaroid stickers to the sides of each photo. I love using this design of pushing everything on the layout to one of the corners to have the pattern paper background showing a little more. Instead of having it just act as a frame, you can see more of the pattern this way. I did ink the edges of all of my papers with the Chip Sapphire Distress ink. I like to add inking when I have dark papers, especially because it covers up the white core of the pattern paper. That doesn't usually bother me when the papers are all lighter, but adding in the dark paper, I wanted to ink over that white core, so I added ink to all of the papers, including the photo mats. You can see each paper is represented. The multicolored graph paper in the back, the dark blue plus signs, and blocks of the floral with the pink stripes. There's going to be a lot of the floral left over. I didn't want to overpower the layout with feminine florals, but the colors do work really well with the photos, and I thought blocks were just enough. I'm going to glue everything down and then I can embellish this page. Okay, everything is glued down. I did leave some corners unglued in case I wanted to tuck anything under the photos. I don't think I will, but it's always a good practice to leave them free just in case. I will glue them all down at the end so I don't lose any photos. I have my stickers here on the release paper that I'm loving using. You're probably going to see stickers show up in my videos a little more now. It's so convenient to pull them ahead of time and have them ready. My goal is to use these release papers going forward and to finally use up some of the stickers I've been hoarding. My design plan is to add the Polaroid stickers down the sides of the photos, and there's going to be a cluster down in this corner where the title is going to be. I'm using one of the titles from the sticker book. I'll add that title now so I know how much space I'll have left over for the Polaroid stickers. This was my thought to use the tag behind the sticker title to give it a little more presence. And I'm going to pop that up on foam tape. It's amazing what a difference it makes to give that title just a little bit of dimension. In a bit, when I pop out the hole in the sticker tag, it occurs to me that I should pull out my baker's twine and add some twine to this layout. I will end up having three places on the layout to add twine bows to, so they will make a visual triangle. I now have a spot to fill on my layout. Originally, I was going to add my journaling below the photo on the right, but it became clear that I had way too much to say. The space on the layout wasn't going to have enough room for the story that I needed to tell. I did create a pocket on my layout behind the blue paper to add my journaling behind. This layout is all about my husband reconnecting with his niece. She was born in 2019 and he got to spend some time with her when she was a baby. And he had tickets to go see her and spend her first birthday with her, but then COVID happened and that trip got canceled. We really want her to know that part, that he would have been there for her birthday if not for COVID. For that next year and a half, we didn't go anywhere. And it meant so much to us that our families were willing to travel to our wedding in October of 21. It was a really special moment to see him reconnect with her. I didn't even try to condense any of that into that small journaling space. If you download this sketch bundle, you'll see a journaling spot on the sketch. There's a link in the description box to download all four of the sketches I'm sharing in this series, and I did include a bonus again. This time, I added options for changing out the photos and adding in different cut aparts. That was a goal for me for the series, making sure I added more cut aparts on my layouts from this collection. In some of the options, I took away cards and added more photos. In others, I changed the configuration of the photos and added in cards. That's something I definitely struggle with. There are always so many options in the cut aparts. Most of the time, I'm scrapbooking 12 by 12 pages, not pocket pages, and I rarely incorporate these cards. I thought it would be nice to have some sketches that show options. I know I could use it, and I hope it will be helpful to you as well. I did glue that die cut with the Polaroids, repeating more of that motif in what would have been the journaling spot. I'm adding three of the Polaroids on the photo mat on the left, and there will be two on the photo mat on the right. I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing this. To fill in the frames, I will add the same heart centers the way they came in the sticker book. This layout will have a lot of details. I sometimes feel like extra details are missing from my layout. I don't always have as much time to scrapbook as I would like. Can anyone relate? And when I'm in a rush, I don't always stop to see what else I can add. Where can I tuck something? Can I add brads? Can I add twine? But much like my last layout, because I have so many stickers and die cuts pulled ahead of time for these layouts, I did take the time to keep adding and finding more places to tuck this or that. And more than one of these layouts will have more than three cluster spots. There's no rule that you should only have three cluster spots. Three is an odd number, and from a design perspective, odd numbers of things are more pleasing to the eye. But every layout is different. I had everything in front of me, and I wanted to use as much of this collection as I could. There's nothing wrong with adding additional clusters and using up your stuff. I just added the blue label and layered that strip of plaid paper. I still have a couple of die cuts I can add. This camera might be the perfect size to cover up the edges where the photos meet the label. And I can add this little love this die cut too to give me a little bit of yellow down in that corner. I'm also seeing spots on this layout where I might be able to add in brads to fill in gaps. So I'm going to keep those right there. Moving on to the cluster above the photo, I struggle with this one a bit. Building it on top of the pattern paper was one issue I had. I didn't want to cover up too much of the paper. But I also wanted to add the label from the cut apart sheet, but the heart being on the left side was throwing me off. If I didn't have that label, I would have moved everything around by adding the camera tag up against the left photo. Part of the label I cut off could have gone behind the tag, and I would have built the cluster to the right. But I kept the heart there and moved the camera tag over a bit to make sure the flower on the pattern paper was still showing. I end up building the rest of the cluster between the photo and the camera tag. Not the best way to do this in hindsight, but I still love how it turned out. You can plan a layout all you want, but until you start creating and adding elements, it doesn't always go the way you think it will. But this little cluster up at the top is going to give me my second place to add baker's twine. I'm grabbing the yellow sticker butterfly that was left over from the last layout. I think this is the only sticker from the leftovers that made it onto this page. This butterfly will nestle perfectly above the heart label. I will manage to add one more sticker phrase that says sweet above the title cluster. And that's all the stickers and die cuts this page can take. So I'm going to start adding all of the finishing touches. I'm really pleased with how well these photos stand out against the dark background. I like dark backgrounds, but it really surprised me a bit to look through the last 30 or so layouts I created and only find one other page with a dark background. I find that photos can stand out great on both dark and light backgrounds. Adding the white photo mats here helped, but they are there more as a place to add the Polaroid stickers to, more so than as a frame. I wouldn't have pulled this layout off as well if there had been more details going on with the pattern papers in the background. The dark blue paper just helped the photos and the embellishments pop. I was happy that I found three places to add brads to. I didn't get any on the first layout, but the rest of the layouts will have a few brads. The puffy flowers that I added from my stash definitely worked on this layout too. As with the brads, I'm using them to cover up awkward seams, fill in gaps, and to anchor word phrases. I've added some puffy hearts and the champagne dots in the clusters and more of the clear dots to add emphasis to some of the sticker elements. The last thing I'm doing here is picking out baker's twine. I will punch a hole in the floral pink stripe paper under the left photo. That will give me the third spot, along with the tag by the title and the camera die cut to add some baker's twine bows. At first, I thought I'd try to use the same color in all three spots, but I ended up picking out a different color for each spot. And that is where I will call this one done. I love how this layout turned out. From the dark background to the repeating Polaroid elements to all the little details, this one is just as special as the photos. If you'd like to download a free sketch of my completed layout, there's a link in the description box to the series bundle that includes bonus options for each layout. See you next time.